But I'm ready to see Steven Matz to the bullpen and Matthew Liberatore be the guy that they say, all right, what do you got, kid? And I don't even mean one start. That's why I say if he's 5 innings, 3 runs, that's good enough for me. I give him some leeway. I give him some latitude because here's the deal. I think we know what Steven Matz is right now, and I don't think he's going to be a reliable option. And it gets to be the point where you got to find out if you've got 5 reliable options in the organization before July 31. And the next guy on the docket to be able to test that theory is Matthew Liberatore. And so I pitch him, and I pitch him every 5th day, and I do it for a good month or so. Even if you have some struggles, hey, they let Steven Matz work through struggles. It's taken this long to even have this conversation in a serious tone. So I'm to the point where even if Libby doesn't have a great game on Friday, if it's even suboptimal at worst, I'm taking it. If he's 5 innings and 3-4 runs, I go, all right, it's not great, but I'm going to give you a little bit of an opportunity because otherwise, how can you ever expect anybody to learn and grow and improve? If every time they struggle, you go, oh, no, back to Memphis for you. Can't do it. We'll let Steven Matz struggle, though. We'll give him a bunch of starts before we consider even skipping him once. You know, Jack Flaherty, he gets as many as he needs, and there's a reason for that, right? They think Jack Flaherty's got upside, and they're right. I think he does. Whether he'll hit on that upside this year remains to be seen. He's done it once. Can he do it more often? We'll see. Steven Matz, though, does he have upside right now? I don't think he does. He has a contract. That helps. But I don't think it gives you anything on the playing surface. Doesn't give me anything in the box score. And at this point, I don't know for sure that Libby will, guys. I'm going to admit it to you. It could go the other way. He could have the exact same efficiency problems tomorrow, and then they've got a real decision. But it's time to find out. And that's why I'd give Libby a few starts. Honestly, even if he struggles tomorrow, I make the move. Because I know the upside of Steven Matz, and it's capped. I would say the Liberatore upside isn't capped. The floor is just as low. The floor could be exactly what Steven Matz has given you. I mean, it's identical. But I give Libby a better chance of avoiding the floor and at least some chance of hitting on the ceiling, which exists. He's got a ceiling, and right now with what Steven Matz has shown, that ceiling just isn't there in his performance. So I'm going to give Libby a month or so, maybe a month and a half, because then you can go, all right, we've given Libby an opportunity. He failed twice. He failed a third time. He's worked through it. We can make some level of determination based on a sample size of 5, 6, 7 starts. And now we know, yep, we do need a trade. And we need one for a starting pitcher. And even if it's a guy who's a rental, that's okay at that point. Because right now, I'd look at the Cardinals' trade prospects and say, you don't have room to trade for a late rotation innings eater. You don't have room for that guy. Because who's he going to replace? Right? Well, now the answer is Steven Matz, but I think you give Liberatore the first shot at that so you don't have to give up pieces to get that guy into the organization. You can't patchwork your rotation every July and ignore it in the offseason and expect that to just be fine. I know John Mozeliak is hopeful that they can. I hope he's finding out and learning his lesson by now that it doesn't work. But I give Liberatore that shot because if you go through and exhaust him as an option, I don't think you really have anybody else in Memphis that I feel like, yes, these prospects are ready to get that call. And so then you can know, all right, we do maybe need a scrape the bottom of the barrel kind of starter the way we've gotten the last couple of Julys. We do need the J-Hap. We do need the 23 version of Jose Quintana. We do need another Jordan Montgomery or maybe a rental version of that. Like, we do need that. Right now, they don't. Right now, I mean, people are telling me in my live streams, what about Chris Sale? What about? I don't think those guys are automatically better than what the Cardinals have. But if the young kid shows, yeah, he's basically just not giving you the efficiency and the length you need either, and we already know Steven Matz isn't, all right, maybe now you go out and you can trade for somebody. And that, to me, opens you up to a Lucas Giolito, where otherwise maybe you're not as open-minded to it because, yes, he's better than what you have, but he's not long-term, and so it doesn't really solve any problems beyond just the here and now. And for a team that's below 500, how much can they really prioritize the here and now and give up guys who could help them in the future, prospects and the like, for a Giolito type? Otherwise, I've said you got to look at the very top shelf in a trade for a pitcher. a guy who is controllable and is an ace, like a Shane Bieber, who they'll see tomorrow pitching for Cleveland, or a Dylan Cease, the ace of the Chicago White Sox, a team that has struggled. You got to think that highly and give up legit names to get him. But otherwise, it's just not worth it to trade for a pitcher because they might just be the same thing you've already got, unless the Cardinals have injuries or they prove that the Matz/Liberatore spot cannot be solved internally. If one of those two things happen, then yeah, you might need another patchwork arm. But the only way to find out is by letting Libby have a little bit of a leash. Give Libby the leash that you gave to Steven Matz, but now it's time to cut the cord on that one. I'm not saying DFA. There's still $22 million beyond this year that they owe him, and they got to pay it to him regardless. Put him in the bullpen because I actually think there's a scenario where he becomes basically an Andrew Miller type, that he's a lefty reliever that you're paying more than you need to pay, but at least he can maybe give you some innings and he can fill a role. That's where I am on Steven Matz. Let me know where you guys are. What do you need to see from Matthew Liberatore in tomorrow's game, in Friday's game, to be able to say, yup, make that move? Because for me, the bar to clear is not all that high. It's not that significant, and I'm kind of curious to see what the Cardinals are going to end up doing after Libby because he's probably not going to shove, right? He's going to make it a tough decision. He's going to be like 5 1/3, 2 runs. What do you do? Well, for me, it's an easy call at that point. But what do the Cardinals do? I don't know, but I don't think they have the luxury of time with this one.